Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome to this live video premiere. We have breaking news regarding James Brenner and his recent court case appearance, which occurred yesterday on the 24th of April. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the latest information and news around it, both the outcome and some of the interesting details in between. I'm going to be providing it from the point of view by Candice Cooley, in which she was there to witness it herself, okay, on a Facebook post. And also be comparing and contrasting that to like a witness report of a local individual, let's say, who was present there too, who passed their knowledge and what they've heard and seen onto a Montello local who's reached out to me. So we've got some very interesting information to talk about today regarding James A. Brenner, the one who's been charged with the desecration and murder of Dylan Rounds, okay? And the reason why I want to look at different areas of like differing accounts of people to measure the consistency, considering Candice Cooley has got some things wrong here and there and may have not included all the key details, it's nice to hear it from a holistic point of view from different people, okay? So that's what we're going to do today. And also look at a brief update to do with Doug No Thanks, to do with Candice Cooley and the Dylan Rounds case. It's all coming together in this video. Make sure to stick around till the end to learn about everything that has gone on and all the new information, okay? And as we do go along, make sure to share your own opinions, thoughts and ideas on the matter and try to maintain focus. And you can talk about other things as well, because this is quite an important video, right? Breaking news. As well, we can check the comments out of the previous video. If there's any key questions, any bits of information there that needs to be cleared up, okay? We'll probably begin with that first to allow people to join on into the video, and then we can progress onto the breaking news, okay? And also, one last thing just to point out, big shout out to Cleo, the Playful Witch, also known as Clee, as well as Ellen Berg for the super chats last night. It was very good of them, okay? And as well, if you haven't already and you wanted answers about the silent video experiment, make sure to check my earlier video out, as I did upload one this morning or so, okay? The links will be down below to that video, as well as the previous one the other day. All in the comment section, pinned. Feel free to watch them. But for now, let's begin with this one. So what I'll just do quickly is arrange the comments to the newest and work our way up. Starting with a person here called Freddie K. Freddie Kruger, you can see by the profile picture, saying, new subscriber, but I'm a blast from the past. We talked a while ago. How are you? What did I say? I did go by a different name. Check Instagram. Right. Okay. I think in the end I did see that username on Instagram, but I'm a bit confused because I'm sure I've heard it elsewhere. Or am I getting confused with a user on YouTube called Polish Girl in Vegas or Polish Vegas Girl? I think that's what I'm getting mixed up with. Two different sets of people, right? Yeah, people will be probably confused, but Freddie Kruger might understand the confusion there. Anyway, Moon's mum says Christy B identifies as an angel. Interesting. And Christy definitely agrees there. Okay, so Christy is a very innocent person. Missed the premiere, watching now with the frogs. That's good. Wheatleby, darn, I missed it. Naughty, naughty. Indiana saying, don't be late tomorrow if you can, as all news on Brenner will be gathered by then, we hope. Right on. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what we're talking about today. Badger Life catching up, Mr. Live Premier. PS next court date. Yeah, under control, Badger. We're getting to that shortly. Jacqueline Rampley, 7 years I've followed a case. The final defendant is DP trial early 2024. 7 years. Wow, that's quite some time. So as for me, in case anyone is wondering, the longest case I've followed, not really a case, well, yeah, you can call it a mystery case, would be the Kenny Veach case. Although people will know me for covering it extensively since 2020 and onwards, I was actually following the Kenny Veach M Cave case since 2015. Yeah, that's how long ago it is, since 2015, and then started making videos myself in 2020. Okay. We got Matt Lingo saying, is this drains? Did they check for the drains? Now, I don't know if Matt Lingo is pissing about kind of like what Dale does about the drains, but I'll tell you something, Matt Lingo. Yeah, I'm not a stupid idiot. Not a stupid idiot. Okay, so that guy on your profile picture, I think he needs to get his pen out, start scribbling down on that checkboard, point to Dale and say, you're on the list. Yeah, I'm locked on. I know exactly what that is. Okay, do you, Matt? Hopefully you do, Matty boy. So we got Francis Strickland saying this one on Dylan, as well. It's like putting a puzzle together with pieces missing. So sad. It's all crazy. I think some of the remains will be found, not all, but I hope so. So Francis, if you feel like some of the remains will be found, are you going with the theory that Dylan's remains are scattered and spread about? Is that your idea? I mean, the current talk and focus seems to be the wash area. That's where Dylan is at somewhere. If Dylan was at the wash somewhere, do you think his full skeletal remains will be present or spread about? We will do a poll right now. Okay, the poll can be on the conditions that Dylan Rounds is somewhere within the wash. Is his full remains present, or will it only be a small portion? And then the rest of the remains are scattered elsewhere in Lucerne. Make sure to vote right now, okay? And just to refer back to Matt Lingo, drains, did they check for drains? As for the main line, as for pivot, Quinton doubling down, saying how the pivots have been searched, both Dylan's and the pivot north of the grain shed area. But quintessential, not quite sure about the that bare patch which Ty Corbin came across. So that still remains a little bit of a mystery. It makes me think, was it double checked then? The pivot north of the grain shed? Yes, no, and when was it done? Let's move on. Weezer, thank you for all the work you put in this case. Shout out to Weezer, a key contributor within the Dylan Rounds case, as well as helpful as well. Indiana, given today's Brenner's supposed court date, why is this video then mixed up with as to whether Crazy watches your granny and Stony or no? Not again. Next drama. Okay, Indiana. Okay, you little hamster face or whatever you call that. My God, that hamster looks taller than you are, Indiana. That's saying something. But yeah, had to include that yesterday just to clear things up. Okay, and we've got the flow, we've got the consistency. Taking mine, Indiana, I can both handle the drama as well as a serious case at the same time. Extensive experience with the Kenny Veach case, doing it all at once. Okay. If you wonder why I sped up talking then, because I know some people have some fantasies about me talking very fast. Okay. Some people are like, like we have to talk in 7 seconds, every word produced. No, it's just because I think before I speak. Okay, like some. Let's move on. Jacqueline Rampley says, who would find track marks months ago and not get footage? Measurements, etc. At the time, they had rain and snow since then, so not much change of getting a match to them now. Candice doesn't have all the details, but adds to what she has heard. I don't trust her. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Quintessential was helpful when answering questions in the last video to do with the track marks and to do with when Mob Crew Chris, along with Equisearch, went out there. It was like 2 months ago, a couple of months ago, if I'm correct in saying. So it's fairly recent, right, to do these track marks. But what I would say is these track marks, which I guess were found back in 2022, why is it taking this long, Why only take action now? You know what I'm saying? why be like, oh yeah, we need to go out now, or we need to return back sometime in May to have another look. Why not do it in summer of 2022? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell's gone on there? Oh yeah, and there we go. That's it for the comments. So, with that all in mind, I think it's now time and appropriate to transition onto the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page and look at the latest post and update by Candice Cooley to do with James Brenner's court case. Here we are, we just scroll down, you can clearly see Candice Cooley posting 18 hours ago, very recent. The reason why I'm doing this video now is because it was late at night when it came about for me yesterday, so, okay. But let's read what Candice Cooley has to say. It says, update, we did attend Brenner's arrangement today. Nothing happened besides he was appointed a new attorney and another hearing set for June the 5th. So when reading that out, it kind of seems a bit, but let's just continue reading. Unfortunately, our judicial system protects the rights of the accused and not the rights of the victims. So we just have to allow the system to do what it does. In the meantime, we will continue our search for Dylan. So you can kind of sense that underlying frustration by Candice Cooley, having to wait a little bit longer. Brenner arguably having more power over the victims, the family, right? Will it ever change? I don't know. Will there be any laws that pass with time? Will Candice Cooley try to overturn it, change it in some way for the better, so the victims have a bit more power, a bit more of a say down the line? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, we can do a poll right now. I know it's very quick, but literally on the spot. Do you think it's fair, the judicial system protecting rights of the accused, but not the rights of the victims? Make sure to vote right now. Is there need for change, reform, or something? Let me know. But yeah, the same, we're continuing the search for Dylan, which of course is the main focus, right? But what else is said down here? Candice says, I have had a lot of people comment and reach out wanting to organise demonstrations and such. This will do us no good. Charges are filed and demonstrations do not speed up the process. We understand the thinking behind it, but it will bring nothing positive to the case. Okay. Yeah, demonstrations. So are we seeing like the hard-line supporters of Candice Cooley just in rounds, that they'll push it and push it? But if the hard line and they'll look up to Candice, then they'll probably follow her orders, whether they say do it or don't do it. And in this case, not to do it. Because both like with the crime scene, or the supposed crime scene at the time, still kind of relevant to this day, that you don't want to be going over there and crowding the area, contaminating stuff, ruining the evidence. Same with how, when it comes to these court cases, you don't want to start interfering with the legal stuff and in between, because if you do, it could favour Brenner in some way. I don't know, I'm not an expert, but as Candice Cooley says, best just to let them get on with whatever that needs to be done. Anything else? Candice Cooley says, right now we are keeping the searches small and controlled, and no specific areas we are checking. At this time, calling a public search is not beneficial. If there is a time we feel it would be, definitely ask for help. Okay. In the meantime, I will start mailing seed packets this week, and let's start sowing some seeds for Dylan. So this is interesting because not only we're getting an update to do with Brenner's case, but also the search for Dylan Rounds. The fact that Candice Cooley says small groups and controlled specific areas. This implies Candice Cooley is looking at more than one area. Now, does that mean they're not just looking at the wash, but they're looking elsewhere? Or does Candice Cooley mean they're just looking only in the wash, but different areas of it? What do you think in the chat, right? Because if you think about it, kind of like with Quintessential, who at this moment in time, firmly seems somewhat confident that Dylan is in the wash, because Candice Cooley has, I guess, worded it in that way herself and the way she's talked with time. Are we seeing a slight change again, in which, besides the wash, Candice Cooley is looking elsewhere? But why? If Dylan is in the wash somewhere, why do you need to look elsewhere? Is it because you're not entirely confident on the fact Dylan is in the wash and he could be anywhere? Kind of doubling back on yourself? Or do you feel that portions of Dylan Round's remains are in the wash and then the rest are scattered elsewhere? It makes you think. And also, it makes you think, what other areas of interest are Candice Cooley and the little group looking at, right? Okay, besides the wash, a different wash, maybe. Is it the wash quintessential was talking about? The one 20 miles, northeast or so? Yeah. I mean, Little Pigeon Mountain? Are they being looked at? Governor's Spring, are they being looked at, or have they already been ticked off or ignored? I assume Lucerne Pond is off the list now. Grangeshed property, arguably still on the list, considering people have rumoured that there were searches taking place there and equipment was being taken down to dig up the land or so. I mean, of course, let me know all your thoughts down below, both in the chat and the comment section. What do you think of this? Candice Cooley in a small controlled group looking at a range of different areas. Do you feel the way it's worded here, they're any closer to finding Dylan Rounds, concentrating on a particular specific area? Or does it still seem quite fragmented and all over the place? Let me know your thoughts. Little photo there of the sunflowers, of course, fitting with Dylan Rounds. Let's just check the comments. I don't know what the comments will be of, but we'll just briefly plough through them, okay? It might be more to do with support, right? But just in case anyone was asking questions, Gina says, just terrible, I understand. The man who killed my sister was incompetent, sir, was never charged. Said how these jerks are protected. May justice come soon for done. Okay. David, no. Somewhere along the line, he may say he is willing to divulge the location of Dylan for a reduced type of sentence. I just hope Dylan is found soon. They don't have a need to make any deal with Brenner. Right. Thoughts and prayers, of course. Okay, what's this one? I also agree the system is broken and victims have less rights than the criminals. Bay Sanchez, I don't understand why this evil man is punishing Dylan's family further by withholding where his body is. He's already taken him from his family in his life. Our justice system fails every time it protects these monsters. Well, the key thing is, Bay Sanchez, from the way it was worded and how Candice Cooley worded it in the last and latest East Idaho News Channel interview, that Brenner, there was some kind of offer made in which Brenner told his attorney or something that he is willing to reveal the location of Dylan Round's body. Candice Cooley, when the offer was made towards her, she and Justin declined it. They actually declined it. So there's a possibility that if they accepted it, of course, it might not be the popular choice because Brenner might have a reduced sentence, but you might have been more likely to find Dylan Round's remains quicker than how it is right now. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, anything else? Sending many prayers. Oh, is that it? Wow. I'll be honest with you. We kind of got through those comments very quickly. Did I miss anything? Ah, there we go. I was waiting for that. We'll just quickly read through these last ones. It's because they don't always show up all on screen, which is a bit annoying. Sending prayers. What happened to his other lawyer? Linda. Good question. Candice Cooley saying, that's not information we get. Okay. So does anyone know, or if anyone had to make a quick guess, what do you think happened to that other lawyer? Fired, sacked, Brenner didn't get on well with him. The lawyer didn't want to be associated with Brenner because of Brenner's attitude, behaviour. What's your thoughts? Let me know down below. Has this happened before in the past with Brenner? What's this? Pat saying public defenders come and go. Not unusual to change before trial begins. Probably quit, thinking he doesn't want to help a loser like him. Well, I don't know if it applies to the US as well, but like with the UK, you get lawyers. They don't care who they defend. If they're getting the money, they're getting the money. They'll defend anyone, just about. Okay, let's not dilly-dally around with that. Kind of like with dentists, not defending bad people, but dentists can be very corrupt and money hungry. Fucking pathetic in this country, for sure. Anyway, is there anything else here? With his history, he shouldn't have any rights. It's just not right. I'm so sorry for the more due process. Frustration delays. Thank you, Candice, for the updates. Waiting game, knowing he's responsible, but it's also the best thing at the same time. We want to get what he deserves. This is what I mean. Although the delay is annoying and frustrating, the fact that Dylan has not been found yet, it gives that space, that open window to be able to keep on looking whilst waiting, right? There might be other times, other cases where it's delayed and the body has been retrieved earlier on, but they still have to wait. That's actually worse. In this case, arguably a little bit better, right? Depending on how you look at it. Laurel, a man who lies doesn't get away with anything. God will be the judge on that. And Dylan's Angels. Right. Okay. Prayers and hugs. This is one. I'm sorry for what you're going through. Stay strong. Lou Holt saying, can they force Brenner to say where Dylan is? Maybe in an informal way, if Brenner wasn't actually in jail or custody or any of that. If he was walking about a free man and you had like Montello, Lucen locals that forced him to confess and they recorded it, then I guess that could be used in a way, but because it's in a formal situation now, it just wouldn't work. No. Candice Cooley does reply and say, he is protected by his rights. You cannot force anyone to say anything. Lou says, that's tragic. Heart goes out for all you've been through. Praying he's found soon, Dylan. Ticker says, no, he has the right to remain silent. He can plead the Fifth Amendment. Debbie saying, what does he gain by keeping quiet? We already know he offed Dylan. Why not tell? You're going to spend a lot of time in prison anyway. Seems to me that he has nothing to lose. Yeah. But the other thing is, Debbie, and this can apply to that other person's comment earlier on, when it comes to Brenner, okay, he's done what he's done. He has got punished for it now, and this is probably the last time he manages to do something bad or reoffend. But what he does have at this moment is power. And kind of like when you get serial killers and killers in general who may have taken someone out, disposed of them, and then they hold the power in which they can just sit there knowing all the information, where the person's at, and then the family have to, well, in some cases, beg for an answer, and then it just fuels that killer, that satisfaction, knowing that they hold the key to what happens next, And although they're going to get punished, they don't care, right? And I think with Brenner, he doesn't seem to care, really. Okay? Let's just move on. What else? It gets frustrating when you want to see justice prevail, but unfortunately the accused have more rights than those they took from them. This isn't over yet. Even if and when he is convicted, Dylan's name will be known more than ever. Dylan is going to continue making change for the future. I guarantee that. His spirit guided that path when the cops were first called to the area for his disappearance. He's talking to Mama and she's hearing him. Okay. Anything else? So for the setbacks. Prayers. Praying that Box Elder comes to their wits and does something. Prayers for you. Is it even in the hands of Box Elder Police LE to do anything else from now on? Can anyone confirm that in the chat? With the court case being arranged, like into, was it June 5th or something? And that proceeding's ongoing. Still, family trying to find Dylan Rounds. Do the LE play a role still? Can anyone answer that? And if so, what is their role? What are they to do next in the Dylan Rounds case? More prayers. Okay. What's this? Cindy McLaughlin says, what happens if no lawyer will take this case? I can't see any kind of possible defense they can come up with. The video makes it impossible to defend. It will be interesting as it pans out. POS is guilty, end of story. Well, most likely there will be someone that will take over, right? From the looks of it and the way it's been worded, it's already happened. How frustrating our judicial system has become. Yeah. Is it too late to place an order for this? No, okay. That's to do with the seeds. Criminal has more rights. Yeah. Hopefully not for long, and Box Elder handled this poorly. It's broken. What does Lisa say? Like everyone else, my heart aches for you. Okay. Although I did not know him or your family, I bought so many sunflowers. Okay. Brian says he will 100% be found. I just know it. And his family can know where he is and try to find a little piece in that. Okay. Right, so yeah, there we go. We finished the comments here. What we will do now for context, welcome if you have just joined this video. To fully understand what we're talking about, make sure to rewind back and catch up, okay? But for the people watching currently and still, what we're going to transition onto next is like an actual response from another individual that was within like the courthouse, if you call it that, kind of like with Candice Cooley. We're in the same area and environment when Brenner was up on, do you call it up on stage? You know, just want to hear it from a different side of the story, from a different person, and see if it aligns and matches up with what Candice Cooley has said in this Facebook post. Let's move on over right now. So here is the screenshot of the text conversation that took place. On the left-hand side where you see that like red line going down, that's the messages from the person passing on the information about Brenner's court case, Brenner's hearing, okay? If you wonder what scribbles are, that's just done out of respect for privacy of the individual passing on this information, okay? So it reads, blank just got back from Brenner's hearing. He'll have to tell you about it this weekend. He says he's pretty arrogant and looks very depleted. They are not charging him with capital murder, so there is no death penalty. So we'll just zoom on in case you want to see it up close, because I know it might be hard to read. What do we take from this? Is there anything worded here which wasn't mentioned by Candice Cooley? Yes, most definitely. This is a more detailed look at Brenner. You know, we always talked about how does Brenner appear in court, right? And we're seeing it now. I'm basically saying that Brenner appeared pretty arrogant, but also looks very depleted. What does depleted mean? I guess arguably ill, the lack of energy, the lack of life within his presence, in his face, right? Kind of like, you know, like weak, a weaker version of himself. Now, I wonder what's the reason behind that. As for Brenner being arrogant, I'm not surprised because Candice Cooley has described Brenner as cold in the past. And when it has come to other cases in the past, Brenner has pleaded not guilty. Now, although it might not come to a situation like this yesterday, he's probably had on his mindset that, oh, you know, not guilty, whatever. Because, you know, in the early days of the Dylan Rounds case, Brenner wasn't worried, was he? He didn't appear worried. He was quite calm, cool, collected when Justin talked to him, Candice Cooley talked to him. And when it came to June the 2nd, the spring cleaning although LE were around and the sheriff, and although they allowed Brenner to get on with stuff, Brenner himself had the cheek and the confidence and arrogance to think, my time's more important, regardless of Dylan. I'm here to get on with stuff and clear my tracks up as well. And yes, the police are kind of incompetent for allowing it to happen, but it just shows the arrogance that even when Brenner has done something bad, he seems entitled that he can get on with doing stuff still and clearing his name or clearing up his own tracks. And even when, before that, when the search and rescue, the family, the police were around his trailer searching the area, Brenner had the arrogance and audacity to say, you need to back off. This is annoying me. You get what I'm saying? Brenner's in no position to be doing this or saying that. But yet in his mind, he thinks he can. And at times, he is able to, right? Maybe in this case, not quite the same. But yeah, we've got some interesting backstory to Brenner, his appearance, his presence depleted. Response from, I guess, Montello Local saying, did he have to enter a plea? Response was, no, he had two lawyers, one for the firearms and one for the assault, murder and desecration charge. They made it that one lawyer will be handling all the charges. The judge asked him if he had any means to hire a lawyer, and he barked, the cops have everything I own, so I need a court appointment lawyer. He was sick and wearing a mask. They wanted to get him back to the jail infirmary as soon as possible. His next court appearance is early June. So it ties in what line with June the 5th, I think what Candice Cooley said. So about the next court appearance being in June, that ties in line with what Candice Cooley said. So good. We've got consistency there. The bit about the lawyer, he had two lawyers. Is it mentioned in here that the previous one was fired or quit? Doesn't seem to be worded quite like that. But two lawyers, one for firearms and one for the assault, murder and desecration charge. And that's because, I guess the reason why two lawyers is because the firearms charge is unrelated to the Dylan Rounds case, right? So you need a separate lawyer. And you don't want it to conflict of interest with the other case to do with Dylan, the assault, murder and desecration. Though, to be honest, where it says one for the assault, murder and desecration charge, the murder and desecration charge is to do with Dylan Rounds, correct? The assault charge, aggravated assault, is to do with in 2021, correct? In Montello. So why is that? What? Is it because assault, murder and desecration all apply to physical charges which impact another human's life? And firearms charge doesn't impact anyone else but the person, the felon in possession of a firearm. Is that why the two are separated? One's more physical, which involved harming another human, and then the firearms one is just like a separate one. Maybe. As said, you can add your own ideas and responses to this, but basically I'm just wording it. I'm just reading it from what a person has said who was actually in the same room as Brenner, right? Which is quite important. Definitely more information provided here than what Candice Cooley has said, but you never know. Candice Cooley in a future interview might bring certain points up, okay? Let's just reread that. The judge asked him, I assume asked Brenner, if Brenner had any means to hire a lawyer, and he barked. What, barked in like aggressive, defensive? And the bit where it says barked, the cops have everything I own, so I need a court-appointed lawyer. I assume this person has failed to include the quotation marks as if Brenner was speaking himself. So we'll reread this once again so you're clear. The judge asked Brenner if he had any means to hire a lawyer. Brenner barked, saying, in quotes, "The cops have everything I own, so I need a court-appointed lawyer." Hopefully that makes more sense to you. And the bit saying the cops have everything I own. So what? The firearms, Brenner's trailer, a few other bits and bobs, Brenner's bloodied shirt. But they don't have Brenner's horse though, do they? Because that passed away. Now, does Brenner know about the horse passing away? Does anyone know? I would say it's probably best not to tell Brenner about that if he doesn't know, because if you do, he'll probably start grieving. He'll probably get sad. He might get more ill. It might kill him. I don't know, heart attack or something. The stress, I don't know, it might make him even more negative. It might make him less likely to communicate and help the family, if so, down the line, right? That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Anything else? Well, the bit where it says, "I need a court-appointed lawyer," I think that ties in line with Candice Cooley saying a new lawyer has been added in. The bit where it says, "He was sick and wearing a mask." Now, why would Brenner be wearing a mask? Has that got anything to do with, the virus since 2020, that outbreak? Is that why they're wearing a mask in court, or is that not needed anymore? But the bit where it's saying he's sick, well, he's probably wearing a mask because of that. Don't want to be spreading the sickness around if people are within that room. It wouldn't be quite practical, would it? So, okay, he's sick. What type of sickness, though? Is it a bug? Is it a bad virus? Is it withdrawal symptoms from something? And it says they wanted to get Brenner back to the jail infirmary ASAP. Is jail infirmary a hospital within the jail? Can anyone confirm? So it kind of ties in line with what Indiana was suggesting earlier on, months ago, where she said through a photo of Brenner inside of the jail, he appeared to look quite ill, thin in the face. Aside from the new glasses he was wearing and the beard being cut, he looked ill and rough. And at the time we're talking about, has it got anything to do with the withdrawal from the alcohol? Because it was a sudden change, wasn't it? From being a walking man, drinking whatever, to being locked up, no alcohol. Though time has passed long enough to maybe recover from it eventually. Has that hunger strike previous, what Brenner did for 30 days, have an impact on his health as well? Is Brenner trying to harm his health so he doesn't have to go through all this? Is that a possibility? Is he going to be put on some kind of watch so he doesn't do anything else silly that could impact the case? But I think in general, the fact that it's been confirmed right now that Brenner is sick, is ill, it is truly like a race against time, because the worst case scenario, and it could happen, is that before he's convicted, before they found Dylan Rounds, Brenner ends up passing away due to his poor health. Then what that means is you don't get the true justice for Dylan Rounds, and you don't get the answers to where Dylan Rounds is. The family can still find him, but maybe it will take much longer. So it really is a race against time, in my opinion. And we'll do a poll right now. I don't know if it's too late, but we'll do a poll right now. With knowing about Brenner's sickness, do you think it's fatal? And overall, with knowing about this, do you think it's a race against time before it's too late? As what I've just said before, how I worded it. Do you agree with that? Make sure to vote right now. So, yeah, we got it from a different side. That's very interesting. As said, if you do have additional thoughts, ideas, or even additional information, because I'm sure more will come out, I guess, over this weekend, and if not, next week or the week after, right? List whatever down below in the comment section. Make sure to make use of it. We're nowhere near finished yet, okay? Do I have any additional final thoughts to add on? Well, through that text conversation, we'll talk more this coming weekend, this coming Saturday, I assume. Yeah, Yeah, yeah. Maybe more information will come out, and then if so, then I might be able to pass it on to you, the viewer, and then you can hear more about it, a raw, actual account of what happened, visually, information-wise, right? It's very important to hear it from different sides of the story, and this is perfect, okay? I'm not praying to Tyler, I'm clapping my hands because it's like a wow moment, okay? Everyone watching right now, everyone in the chat, everyone in the background, make note of this. First of all, I got the prediction right, and it'll show more very shortly. The first prediction I stated yesterday, long before it actually happened in the day, was that Candice Cooley is going to do an update post on Facebook. That's exactly what happened, and we looked at it today. Boom, I got that right. The second point I mentioned was, no thanks, Doug on YouTube, same exact day as the same other prediction, but Doug is going to do an update on his own community tab talking about the next upcoming update with Candice Cooley, saying it's coming soon. Boom, got it right. And we'll look at that in a second. Boom, got it right. Boom, predictions right again. Boom, accuracy, almost nailing on the head all the time, 98% of the time. Wow. Now, the next wow moment is we've been able to cover this breaking news in an efficient way, both from hearing it from the horse's mouth, Candice Cooley. I'm not calling Candice a horse, it's an actual saying, if you're confused. So we're hearing it from that side, and I managed to hear it from the side of like a general public individual that's passed from what they've seen and heard onto person, passed on to me, passed on to you, okay? And there's a correlation. There is a degree of, what do you call it, accuracy. It's not too much switching and changing. One is by Candice Cooley, if you want to call it the official one. The other one's by the general public person. And it both ties in line with one another. There's consistency, something that's been lacking over time, but we are able to do it well this time. And as well, the general public person was able to provide a little bit of additional information and backstory to the hearing. So that's all good. And this was all done without interference from any rats or any other people causing trouble, okay? It's all been done in this video under control, under control, under control. And what I will say is, everybody watching right now, okay, make sure to share this video. If you are satisfied with it, feel free to like it as well, just to spread that awareness, right? Sure, people will eventually hear about this information, right? But maybe not the true backstory behind it immediately, which has been presented here, such as no death penalty, Brenner's illness, right? Quite serious, quite important, can harm the case in some way and impact the justice for Dylan Rounds. Spread awareness, feel free to share this video wherever, whenever, okay? You got that under control? Yeah? Good. So what we will move on to now is the YouTube page by No Thanks. We're going to check the community tab out and see what this little update is about, okay? Here we are, as you see, 18 hours ago. I believe this is around the same time as Candice Cooley making that Facebook post as well. Very interesting. So Doug says, Dylan Rounds updates coming soon with Dylan's mom, Candice Cooley. Brenner was in court today, which meant yesterday, okay? Also, what I do want to say, hopefully people are still watching by now to listen in, shout out to them, is that text message, what you saw just before, the screenshot of it, if you're confused about the time of when that message was shown or something, it's to do with the time zone difference because of the US, different states or areas in the US have got their own different time zones. So just in case you wondered why it was a bit wonky, okay, dodgy US. There's the photo of Dylan Rounds and mother. So, yeah, this has been mentioned before. I think it was like 15 days ago on the Dylan Rounds Legacy YouTube page, which I believe is run and controlled by Doug and Candice Cooley. I guess it's just been said again because it's coming very close to this interview coming out. Now, if you wanted me to provide you a prediction of when it's coming out, I think that's probably a bit too risky, okay? All I would say is I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out by the end of this week. What day are we into right now? Is it Tuesday? By the end of Sunday this week, I wouldn't be surprised if it's come out as a video. We'll just word it like that. Let's just check the comments out quickly, see if anyone pops up. I pray that this family gets answers to bring Dylan home. Frankie says there should be some form of torture that should take place against those who have committed murder and won't tell the whereabouts of the person they murdered. Well, I guess to an extent you do get that level of torture, but it's like more with... I don't know if YouTube allows the word. Basically, do you like when you had ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, them, and you've been able to capture one of the members or one of the leaders, send them to Guantanamo Bay, waterboarding, like 9/11, that type of stuff. What was it? Oh, I can't remember his name now. Was it something Atta? No, he was involved. Was it Mohammed Sheikh or something? Mohammed Sheikh, who went to Guantanamo Bay and was waterboarded, tortured that way. So I guess stuff does happen, but maybe it's on a very extreme, more important level, which involves the FBI, CIA, the military, etc. But because this is like, even though it's bad saying, a standard crime, which is still serious enough, the methods are treated differently because it's within the country itself. Is that a possibility, maybe? I mean, do you think in the chat that actual torture methods should be brought in? Would it be practical enough? What do you think? What are comments? I couldn't agree more. Okay. Fly Girl says, justice for Dylan. Okay, it's not fair. Okay. Not that many comments, right? Has the case died down a little bit, the focus and coverage? I'd say so. I still feel that if it does come to like a proper court case with Brenner and it's documented, it's like videotaped, recorded, whatever, I wouldn't be surprised if you did get the original people coming back on into the case and doing a long little analysis, little Twitch type live stream watch alongs like it's Johnny Depp and Amber Heard all over again. Wouldn't be surprised there. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, it seems like 2 out of 2 predictions correct by me. There we go. So yeah, it's just a matter of time now waiting for that interview with Candice Cooley and No Thanks channel. See when it comes about and what's talked about, most likely the Brenner court case, and maybe a bit about the searches out there in Lucerne, what they've been conducting. I don't know if much info will be revealed, but what I will say now, make sure to make notes, remember, whatever, everything that we have talked about in very recent time, and maybe stuff what Candice Cooley has said, like in today's video on that Facebook post. Remember it all and check if there's any consistency when that interview comes about. Because some questions may be answered, but it might open up more contradictions, might be more switching and changing of information. You never know. We've seen it before. It could happen again. So be prepared for it this time so you're not confused. And we'll see what happens in that interview with Candice Cooley and Doug. But yeah, it's good. As for the structure of the videos, how they've been uploaded, the topics, the talking points, they've been perfect recently in flow. How they bounce off from one another in terms of similarities with themes, links, interconnections, the rats, the rejects, kind of dispersing with time. I know people can put the argument across and say, duh, they're here right now. It depends how you interpret it, right? As I said, because I can separate the two and split them down the middle, at least from my point of view, okay? I feel it's been okay, right? The odd occasion was when I did the 3 videos in one night. That was a disaster because of the people watching and causing trouble. But we changed things, we sorted it out for most part of it, okay? As said, hopefully people were on good behaviour today. That includes Dale and Graham, whether you follow the Dylan Rounds case or not. As reality was, today at least was a serious video and was a breaking news one. So focus was necessary, because if focus is lacking, then understanding is impaired and impacted negatively, okay? So hopefully people learned something new. Make sure to list your own thoughts and opinions, as well as additional information and questions down below in the comment section, as well as check out my previous video, and feel free to like this video to, I guess, spread awareness for the importance of what's going on right now with Brenner and the situation with Dylan's case, okay? So we'll see what happens next. Time will tell, and maybe it'll be quicker than expected. But for now, thanks for watching, goodbye, and good night for now.